Hello viewers, welcome to This Week in History right here on Flip TV, and I am Patricia Bassi. This Week in History is a historical program that takes you on a lovely journey to things that happened in the past, and I am delighted to take you on this trip. So come along with us as we feed you with this piece of information about things that happened way back. I mean, events that occurred in the early 90s, early 70s, and even in the early 60s. August 23, 2020, security forces clashed with protesters in Enugu, and according to reports, at least 2 members of the Indigenous People of Biafra (Ipob) were reportedly killed by security personnel. During the course of the incident, residents in Enugu were advised to avoid all protests as a precaution and adhere to all instructions issued by the local authorities. August 24, 1821, Spain accepts Mexican independence. 11 years after the outbreak of the Mexican War of Independence, Spanish Viceroy Juan de Zulu signs the Treaty of Cordoba, which approves a plan to make Mexico an independent constitutional monarchy. In the early 19th century, Napoleon's occupation of Spain led to the outbreak of revolt all across Spanish America. On September 16, 1810, Miguel Hidalgo Costilla, a Catholic priest, launched the Mexican War of Independence with the issuing of his Cry of Dolores. The revolutionary tract called for the end of Spanish rule in Mexico, redistribution of land, and racial equality. August 24, 1875, Captain Matthew Webb of Great Britain became the first man to successfully swim the English Channel without assistance. After the feat, Webb became an international celebrity, admired for both his prowess in the water and his penchant for risk-taking. Born in Shrewsbury, England on January 19, 1848, Webb taught himself to swim in the River Severn at Krakatoa. August 25, 1944, Paris is liberated after 4 years of Nazi occupation. After more than 4 years of Nazi occupation, Paris got liberated by the French 2nd Armored Division and the US 4th Infantry Division. German resistance was light, and General Dietrich von Chockstedt, commander of the German garrison, defied an order by Adolf Hitler to blow up Paris landmarks and burn the city to the ground before its liberation. August 26, 1993, General Ibrahim Babangida stepped down due to pressure from the Armed Forces Ruling Council, and Chief Ernest Adegule Oladeyin Shonekan assumed power as interim head of state. Ernest was born May 9, 1936 and was titled Abese of Egbaland from 1981. He was a Nigerian lawyer and statesman who served as the interim head of state of Nigeria from 26 August 1993 to 17 November 1993. August 27, 1883, the most powerful volcanic eruption was recorded in history, and it occurred on Krakatoa, a small uninhabited volcanic island located west of Sumatra in Indonesia. Head 3,000 miles away, the explosion threw 5 cubic miles of earth 50 miles into the air. It created 120-foot tsunamis and killed 36,000 people. August 27, 1985. The 1985 Nigerian coup d'etat was a military coup which took place in Nigeria when a faction of mid-level armed forces officers, led by the Chief of Army Staff General Ibrahim Babangida, overthrew the government of Major General Muhammadu Buhari. Was then detained in Benin City until 1988. Babangida justified the coup by saying that Buhari failed to deal with the country's economic problems by implementing Buharism and promised to rejuvenate the economy ravaged by decades of government mismanagement and corruption. August 28, 1879, King Setwayo, the last great ruler of Zululand, was captured by the British following his defeat in the British-Zulu War. He was subsequently sent into exile. Setwayo's defiance of British rule in Southern Africa led to Britain's invasion of Zululand in 1879. In 1843, Britain succeeded the Boers as the rulers of Natal, which controlled Zululand, the neighboring kingdom of the Zulu people. Boers, also known as Afrikaners, were the descendants of the original Dutch settlers who came to South Africa in the 17th century. August 28, 1963. On the steps of Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., the African American civil rights movement reached its high water mark when Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his "I Have a Dream" speech to about 250,000 people who attended the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. The demonstrators, black and white, poor and rich, came together in the nation's capital to demand voting rights and equal opportunity for African Americans and to appeal for an end to racial segregation and discrimination. The peaceful rally was the largest assembly for a redress of grievances that the capital had ever seen, and King was the last speaker. With the statue of Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator, towering behind him, King used the rhetorical talent he had to show how, as he put it, the Negro is still not free. August 29, 1958, pop sensation Michael Jackson was born in Gary, Indiana. Jackson began performing with his four brothers in the pop group The Jackson 5 when he was a child. The group scored its first #1 single in 1969 with "I Want You Back." By age 11, Jackson was appearing on TV, and by age 14, he had released his first solo album. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Jackson developed a reputation. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Jackson developed a reputation as an eccentric recluse. Michael Jackson died on June 25, 2009 in Los Angeles, California, few weeks before a planned concert tagged as his comeback. He was 50 years old. There you have it, viewers. A whole lot of events happened way back that you were not aware of, but now you know about it. So till I come your way again, it's still This Week in History on Flip TV, and I still remain Patricia Bassi. Please do well to subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and of course, feel free to share. Till we come your way again, right here in the studio, we are saying stay safe.